You wouldn't survive a single day among the Spartans. Not an hour. Not a morning. Not a breath. Because in Sparta, weakness wasn't just punished, it was erased. In this story, you'll step into the world of ancient Sparta exactly as it was, brutal, disciplined, merciless, and fueled by an obsession with perfection. You'll see how children were beaten to toughen their spirit, how boys froze under the night sky to learn endurance, and how a single moment of hesitation could mark you as unworthy to live. You'll follow a modern outsider, you, dropped into the Spartan age, the harshest upbringing system ever created. You'll witness what Spartan boys faced at 7, what they endured at 12, how they were molded into weapons by 18, and why even adult warriors lived under rules that would break most people within minutes. This is not a heroic tale. You wouldn't survive a single day among the Spartans. Not an hour. Not a morning. Not a breath. Because in Sparta, weakness wasn't just punished, it was erased. In this story, you'll step into the world of ancient Sparta exactly as it was, brutal, disciplined, merciless, and fueled by an obsession with perfection. You'll see how children were beaten to toughen their spirit, how boys froze under the night sky to learn endurance, and how a single moment of hesitation could mark you as unworthy to live. You'll follow a modern outsider, you, dropped into the Spartan age, the harshest upbringing system ever created. You'll witness what Spartan boys faced at 7, what they endured at 12, how they were molded into weapons by 18, and why even adult warriors lived under rules that would break most people within minutes. This is not a heroic tale. This is survival, and the story of why you wouldn't survive. Hello. Welcome to my channel. Before we start, it's a good idea to get into bed and relax. I would also like to ask you to subscribe to my channel, like it, and write in the comments where you are from and what time it is. Thank you. Sweet dreams. You wake to a sound that doesn't belong to any normal morning, a sharp, heavy crack, like wood beaten against bone. The ground beneath your body is cold, rough, packed hard. When you open your eyes, you're staring at a gray sky and breathing air so sharp it bites your lungs. You try to push yourself up, but your hands sink slightly into dust and dry earth. Then you notice them, a ring of boys surrounding you. Barefoot, thin, wiry, with long uncombed hair and red cloaks thrown over their shoulders. Their faces are blank, oddly mature, and disturbingly calm. They study you the way hunters observe a confused animal. No kindness. No curiosity. Only assessment. Before you speak, someone else steps forward. A tall man with a cloak, a leather strap across his chest, and a long wooden stick that looks far too familiar with human skin. His expression is made of cold stone. Stand, he orders. The tone hits harder than the word. You obey instantly, stumbling onto freezing feet. The boys watch in silence. They don't offer help. They don't even smirk. They simply judge. You are late, the man says. For what? You look around, searching for anything familiar, but the world surrounding you is ancient: stone huts, dusty paths, hard hills, the smell of smoke and sweat. No electricity, no noise of modern life. You inhale to ask a question, but he cuts you off before a syllable escapes. You will speak only when permitted. And you are not permitted. A soft ripple passes through the boys, the closest thing they show to amusement. The man taps his stick against the ground. Your training begins today. Your first day in the age. The word freezes your thoughts. The Spartan age, the most brutal upbringing in history. You know the stories, but they feel unreal until you're standing in the middle of one. Run to the river, he commands. Now. The boys sprint immediately. You react a second too slow. The stick slams across your shoulders. Run. You stumble forward and chase after them. The ground is sharp, scattering rocks that tear into your bare feet. The boys ahead run lightly, easily, almost gracefully, despite being younger and smaller. Their training shows in each step. You fall behind. Two boys glance back. Their eyes narrow, a predator's look. One picks up a stone and throws it with perfect accuracy. It hits your arm hard enough to sting for minutes. They don't laugh. They simply accept this as normal. By the time you reach the river, the boys are already waist deep. The water is mountain-fed and viciously cold. You touch it and recoil as if burned. They submerge themselves calmly, holding their breath beneath the surface. You step in, and pain shoots through your legs. The cold crawls up your body like claws. You gasp and stumble back out. The instructor's steps crunch behind you. He doesn't shout. He doesn't show anger. His calmness is worse. Cold makes you strong, he says. Your reaction shows your worth. Then he grips the back of your neck and shoves you into the water. Your breath stops instantly. Panic floods your chest. The cold is unbearable, crushing, as if 1,000 needles sink into your skin. You thrash, desperate for air, until he finally releases you. You burst upward, shaking violently. You will remain, he says. Until the shaking stops. That's impossible, he finishes. He raises the stick. Then you will die. The boys stand still, watching. No sympathy. No concern. This is their normal morning. Minutes stretch endlessly. The cold burrows into your bones. Your mind stops screaming and drifts into numb survival instinct. Slowly, painfully, the shaking softens, not because you're strong, but because your body gives up resisting. The instructor nods once. Acceptable. Not good. Not impressive. Just acceptable, the closest thing to mercy in Sparta. Return to camp. You climb out, numb, half dizzy, every step trembling. The boys march ahead in silent formation. No one waits for you. No one looks back. As you limp after them, cold water dripping down your legs, a realization settles deeper than fear. This was only the first test. Among Spartans, surviving a single morning already feels impossible. You return to camp barely able to feel your legs. Water drips from your clothes, and each step sends a weak tremor through your body. The Spartan boys walk ahead in a tight, disciplined line. No one looks back. No one checks if you're alive. In Sparta, help is not a concept, only endurance. The camp is nothing more than an open yard surrounded by crude stone walls. Smoke rises from a small fire pit, and beside it stands a wooden table with a black iron pot sitting on top. The smell coming from it is sharp, metallic, sour. The instructor stands beside the pot. Meal, he announces. The boys step forward silently. When you approach, he hands you a small clay bowl filled with thick, dark liquid. It looks like tar. The smell is wrong in every possible way: iron, vinegar, something almost burnt. You recognize it only by reputation: melas zomos, Spartan blood soup. You hesitate. The instructor's eyes narrow. You refuse. I just. The stick slams into your ribs. Pain rips through your chest. One who refuses food refuses strength. You choke down a mouthful. The taste is brutal, hot metal mixed with sour acid. Your stomach flips instantly. A boy beside you, maybe 11 years old, watches without blinking. If you vomit, he says, you eat it again. You swallow harder. Not the soup, the urge to gag. Somehow you finish the bowl, though your hands shake the whole time. Before you can breathe, the instructor speaks again. Training. The boys gather around wooden beams wrapped with rope. You don't understand at first, not until one boy steps forward and punches the beam with perfect precision. Again. 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 His knuckles split. Blood smears the rope. He doesn't stop. Another boy steps in and strikes the beam with open palms until his skin reddens violently. Then the instructor looks at you. Your pulse spikes. I'm not sure I. The stick cracks across your back. You stumble forward. You will strike. Your fist trembles as you lift it. You tap the beam gently, the way someone knocks on a door. A mistake. The instructor grabs your wrist and slams your knuckles into the wood. White-hot pain shoots through your hand. Harder. You hit again. Pain. Again. Your skin tears. Blood wells. Again. Your arm shakes uncontrollably, but you do it. Not out of strength, out of fear. Finally he stops. Pain builds discipline. You cradle your bruised hand, but he is already turning away. Run. The boys form rows. You fall in behind them, still shaking. The run takes you across rocky paths and thorny shrubs. The sun rises, harsh and unforgiving, heating the dirt under your feet until each step burns. The boys keep a steady pace, their breathing controlled, their eyes forward. You struggle after only a minute. Your lungs feel too small, your heartbeat too loud. You try to push harder, but your body is still frozen from the river, torn from the punches, twisted from the stick strikes. Halfway through the run, your foot catches on a rock. You hit the ground hard, scraping your palms and knees. Dust fills your mouth. The boys don't stop. But one slows just enough to speak without looking at you. Get up. If you slow us, he beats us too. You rise immediately. Not because you're strong, because you don't want an entire group punished for your weakness. You keep running. Somehow. Barely. When the run ends, your chest feels like it's full of fire. You drop to your knees, gasping. Your legs tremble so violently you can't stand. Sweat mixes with lingering river water and blood from your hand. The instructor examines the boys. His gaze is hard, searching. When his eyes settle on you, he steps closer. His shadow covers your bruised hands, scraped knees, trembling shoulders. You survived the morning, he says. A pause. Barely. He crouches slightly, making sure you see the cold certainty in his eyes. In Sparta, surviving is the lowest standard. Strength is not expected, it is demanded. And weakness is corrected. He rises. Or removed. Then he walks away as if you no longer exist. The boys disperse into the yard, calm, disciplined, emotionless. You stay on the ground for a moment, breathing through pain and fear, realizing an undeniable truth settling deep inside you. This place is not training you. It is breaking you, on purpose. And this was only your first morning. The sun climbs higher, baking the rough ground beneath your feet, but you barely notice. Your body is a catalogue of aches, bruised hands, raw knees, ribs still sore from the stick, legs trembling from the run. You follow the boys in silence, each step a negotiation with pain. In Sparta, complaining is a crime. Weakness is a choice, and you are already late in proving you can survive. The instructor steps into the center of the yard, stick in hand. His shadow stretches long and rigid. The boys form a circle around him, their faces impassive. He looks at you last, and you feel the weight of his gaze, sharp enough to cut. Today, he says, you learn discipline. The boys move to the edge of the yard, where a pile of raw stones has been stacked. Your stomach twists. You know what is coming, lifting, throwing, striking, or worse. The instructor lifts a rock in his hand, not large, but heavy enough. He tosses it lightly. The sound it makes as it hits another stone is a metallic snap, echoing sharply. Each of you, he says, will strike until you bleed. Pain is the measure of worth. A boy steps forward first. His hand connects with the stone repeatedly, small cuts opening across his knuckles. Blood drips down, staining the dust. He does not flinch. Another boy follows. You watch, your stomach twisting. Their faces show no emotion. To them, this is routine. To you, it is nightmare. Then it is your turn. The instructor approaches, gripping your shoulder and pushing you toward the stones. Do not fail, he says. You lift your hand, shaking. Your first strike barely grazes the stone. The instructor's stick cracks across your back. Pain shoots through your spine. You raise your hand again. Strike. Blood blossoms across your knuckles. Strike again. Pain radiates like fire. You want to collapse. Your vision flickers. But a boy beside you, maybe 12, nods once. Not encouragement. Observation. Survival depends on observation. Again, the instructor commands. You obey. Your hand is numb, throbbing. You strike until the skin splits further. Your teeth clench. Your eyes water. Every fiber of your body screams to stop, but in Sparta, the body does not scream, it obeys. Finally, he steps back. Enough, he says. Pain without surrender builds strength. You stagger to the side, clutching your hand, tasting blood in your mouth. The boy beside you nods again. This is their approval. You feel no pride, only exhaustion, fear, and the bitter realization that pain is currency here. Before you can rest, he steps forward again. You will learn endurance. The boys move toward a low stone wall at the far edge of the yard. Climb, the instructor says. It seems simple, until you notice the hidden stakes. The wall is jagged, uneven, sharp edges threatening cuts, splinters, bruises. The boys begin effortlessly. Their movements are fluid, practiced. They climb, leap, and land without flinching. You approach and place your hands on the stone. Pain immediately bites through your palms. You grip tighter, muscles trembling. You pull yourself up, scrape your knees, and stumble to the top. The instructor watches, expressionless. One misstep, and the lesson could end in injury, or worse. At the top, you gasp for air. Sweat burns your eyes. Every movement demands precision, endurance, and courage. The boys wait silently for you to descend. They do not cheer. They do not guide. This is Sparta. Each survives or fails alone. You climb down, limbs shaking violently. The instructor's eyes pierce you. Not enough, he says. Endure longer. He points to the field beyond the wall. Run. Barefoot. Until I call you. You obey. Your legs burn. The earth cuts your soles. The sun sears your back. Every step feels impossible. Around you, the boys keep pace without faltering. You stumble. Your feet bleed. Your lungs scream. But the instructor's gaze follows every move. Stopping is not an option. Collapse is not an option. Surrender is impossible. When at last he calls you to a halt, your knees give way, collapsing in the dirt. You taste iron in your mouth. Your arms, legs, chest, and back throb in a chorus of pain. The boys stand around you calmly, eyes steady. They are alive, unbroken. You are still alive. Barely. The instructor steps close. You survived the second test, he says. A pause. But in Sparta, surviving does not make you strong. Strength is earned daily. Pain is the only teacher. Weakness is forgotten. You stare at him, bloodied, broken, exhausted, and know this is only the beginning. The day continues, the sun climbing higher. And somewhere deep inside, a grim truth sinks in. You might endure. You might survive a single task. But to survive a day among Spartans, you must surrender to the discipline of pain itself. As evening falls, the air turns sharp and bitter. The sun dips behind jagged hills, and the camp grows dim. You have no shelter, no blanket, only the earth beneath you and the memory of every bruise and cut from the day. In Sparta, warmth is a weakness. Comfort is a trap. Endurance is the only currency of survival. The instructor's voice breaks the silence. Tonight, you sleep outside. No fire. No cloak. No excuses. The boys move to their spots without complaint, sitting cross-legged or curling into themselves on the frozen ground. Their faces are pale, but composed. You shiver uncontrollably. Your teeth chatter. Every muscle aches. Every movement hurts. One of the younger boys glances at you. You'll either adapt, or you won't. His tone is neutral. Not a threat, not a kindness. Just a statement of fact. You want to ask how long, but your lips are numb. Your voice is swallowed by the cold. The instructor walks past slowly, inspecting each boy. When he reaches you, he pauses. Do not move unnecessarily, he commands. Then he steps away, letting silence reclaim the camp. Minutes stretch into what feels like hours. The cold seeps into your bones. Your body shakes so violently it feels as if it might fracture. You try to huddle into yourself, trying to trap even a fraction of heat. Nothing works. A sudden whisper breaks the stillness. One of the boys mutters an old Spartan phrase. You do not understand, but the words carry weight, a ritual, a mantra, a reminder that endurance is sacred. You repeat it quietly to yourself, clumsily, teeth chattering, until it becomes rhythm, until it becomes survival. The first test of the night comes quickly. The instructor slams the stick into the ground beside you. Stand, he barks. March the perimeter. Walk. Feel the cold. Own it. Your legs protest, frozen and stiff, but you rise. Each step crushes frozen earth underfoot. Your breath clouds in the frigid air. Your ears burn. Your fingers have lost all feeling. The boys move beside you, steady, relentless. They don't talk. They don't complain. They simply walk, unbroken. The instructor circles, striking with the stick anyone who falters, anyone whose pace drops, anyone whose posture weakens. You stumble. Pain and fatigue collide in your body. A strike lands on your shoulder. You nearly fall. You lift yourself up, heart hammering, teeth clenched. You keep moving. Hours pass. The stars will overhead, distant and cold. The wind slices across the hills, stealing heat from every exposed inch. You learn quickly that the mind can be stronger than the body, if only you can force it to obey. You focus on breathing, on counting steps, on repeating the Spartan mantra in your head. Survival is all you have. Eventually, the instructor calls a halt. He does not speak, does not offer praise. The boys sit, cross-legged, facing the sky. You collapse nearby, shivering violently. Your muscles cramp. Your limbs ache. Your teeth chatter. Your fingers are numb, barely capable of holding your small portion of food. One of the boys watches you with quiet intensity. You lasted the night, he says softly. But do not mistake endurance for strength. Strength is not surviving once, it is surviving daily, and earning every breath. You nod, though he cannot see it. You understand. This night is only the beginning. Tomorrow will be harder. Every morning will be harder. And yet, somehow, you survived. Barely. The cold seeps into your dreams. You lie awake on the hard ground, listening to the night sounds, distant howls, the wind against stone, the soft shuffle of bare feet. Every sound is sharpened by fear and cold. You realize something terrifying: in Sparta, even sleep is a trial. You cannot rest. You cannot weaken. You can only endure. By the first hints of dawn, your body is numb but alive. Pain and cold have become companions. You rise slowly, each movement deliberate. You glance at the boys, who are already moving toward the next task without complaint. They are carved from discipline itself. You are still human, still fragile, still trembling. And deep inside, a quiet thought takes root: surviving one day here is not enough. To live in Sparta is to surrender to its rules completely, to pain, to cold, to fear. Only then might you stand a chance. The day begins again. By mid-morning, the sun burns hotter, but the cold from the night still lingers in your bones. The instructor assembles the boys, and you, at the edge of the camp. Today's lesson is not about punches, running, or endurance. Today is about survival in the wild, Spartan style. You will hunt, he declares. Without weapons at first. You will learn to track, to hide, to observe. Only the strong may take a kill. The boys disperse silently into the brush. You follow, unprepared. The forest is rough, jagged rocks and thorns tearing at your feet. Every step reminds you how weak you are compared to them. The boys move like shadows, weaving through the trees, sensing danger and prey in ways your mind cannot comprehend. The instructor watches from the edge, stick in hand. Observe first, he commands. Then act. Hours pass. You stumble over roots, your muscles screaming. A rabbit darts past. One boy freezes, follows it silently, and captures it barehanded before it can escape. You stand dumbfounded. Your fingers are clumsy, slow. The boy doesn't acknowledge you. He's finished. You are still fumbling. Finally, the instructor approaches. Do not fail, he says simply. Weakness is not tolerated. He tosses you a small, crude spear. Your hands shake. You aim at a fleeing rabbit. The spear misses by a wide margin. The instructor slams his stick across your back. Pain tears through your side. You stumble, almost falling. Again, he shouts. You lift the spear, trembling. The animal is gone, but he makes you practice on a stationary target. Strike. Pain shoots up your arm. Strike again. Sweat drips into your eyes, blood into the dirt. The boys complete the task effortlessly, their faces calm. When you finally succeed in piercing the target, the instructor nods once. No praise. Only a small, almost invisible acknowledgement. Now hunt properly, he commands. Live, or fail. You move forward, heart hammering. Each step requires vigilance. Every sound makes you flinch. You hide behind rocks, mimic the boys' silent movements. Hours stretch. Hunger gnaws. Your muscles burn. Sweat dries and sticks to blood and dirt. Then you spot a rabbit again. Your hands are steady for a moment. You aim. You throw. The spear misses, burying itself in the dirt. You freeze, expecting punishment. The instructor is there instantly. One sharp strike across your legs brings you to the ground. Pain explodes, but he doesn't speak. He only watches. You rise, trembling, and throw again. This time, it lands. Small success, but survival depends on moments like these. The boys pass without notice. They are shadows in the brush, predators perfected by years of pain and training. The day ends with exhaustion unlike anything you've known. You return to camp empty-handed, the taste of dirt and iron lingering in your mouth. The boys arrive silently, some carrying prey. The instructor inspects you with cold eyes. You survived the hunt, he says. Pause. But survival is not enough. To live among Spartans, you must take what life offers, or it will take you. You collapse into the dirt, limbs shaking. Hunger, pain, and exhaustion are constant companions now. The sun dips, shadows lengthen, and the first lessons of the Agoj sink deep. One thought dominates: this is only the beginning. One day, you might track, strike, and survive. But one day is not enough. In Sparta, each day is a trial. Every movement is judged. Every failure noted. And only those who endure beyond fear, beyond pain, beyond human limits, are remembered as warriors. You lie awake that night, listening to the forest around the camp, every rustle and snap amplified. The cold gnaws again. Your muscles tremble. Your body aches. But somewhere in the endless fatigue, a quiet fire forms, a determination to endure. Tomorrow, the hunt continues. And tomorrow, the Agoj will demand more. The next morning arrives with a sharp wind cutting through the camp. You are awake before sunrise, shivering, muscles stiff from yesterday's hunt and the endless cold. The instructor assembles the boys in a rough circle on the open ground. Today's lesson is combat, hand to hand, unarmed, with a focus on endurance, pain, and domination. You fight not for victory, he says. You fight to survive. Weakness is death. Strength is life. The boys pair off silently, each moving fluidly, anticipating attacks before they happen. You are paired with a boy slightly smaller than yourself, but his eyes are sharp, cold, and calculating. He does not hesitate. Every strike is precise, every movement deliberate. The instructor watches, pacing around you like a shadow. Begin, he commands. The first clash is a shock. Your opponent strikes fast, his fists landing with the sting of leather and bone. You try to block, but your arms tremble, and his weight drives you backward. A twist of your leg sends you stumbling. Pain blossoms in your shoulder from the fall. He doesn't relent. Each hit teaches you a lesson you cannot ignore: hesitation is punished. Fear is exploited. You counter weakly, throwing punches that barely land. Your opponent steps aside effortlessly, strikes back, and forces you to the ground again. The instructor cracks his stick across your back. Pain explodes along your spine. You gasp for air. Each breath is laborious. Each movement feels impossible. The boy pushes you again. You fall, then rise, hands shaking, teeth clenched. You swing. You miss. The instructor strikes your shoulder. The boys around you observe, expressionless, as if the spectacle is ordinary. And in Sparta, it is ordinary. Pain is ordinary. Fear is ordinary. Weakness is ordinary, for those who fail. Hours pass in this relentless cycle. Punch, fall, rise, strike, stumble. Your knuckles bleed. Your body trembles. Sweat and blood mix with dirt on your skin. Every movement demands focus, discipline, and an almost inhuman endurance. You feel yourself breaking, but in the brokenness, a quiet understanding forms: endurance is your weapon. Pain is your teacher. Fear is your fuel. Finally, the instructor steps forward. Enough, he says. His voice is low, calm, terrifying in its authority. The weak have failed. The strong remain. Remember, strength is not victory. Strength is survival. The boys stop, some smiling faintly, some impassive. Your opponent nods once and steps back. You stagger to your knees, gasping, your body screaming in agony. You taste blood in your mouth, but the lesson has been learned: hesitation is fatal. Weakness is punished. Survival depends on mastering pain, mastering fear, mastering yourself. The instructor moves away, but his shadow lingers. Rest, he says. But only briefly. Tomorrow, you learn again. You lie on the cold earth, trembling from exhaustion. Your muscles ache, your body is battered, your spirit feels frayed. Yet somewhere deep inside, a stubborn spark refuses to die. Each day you endure, each strike you survive, each night you sleep in the cold, builds something harder inside you. In Sparta, survival is a constant test. Every hour, every moment, every action is judged. You may survive a day. You may survive a fight. You may survive hunger, cold, or exhaustion. But only those who endure all, without surrender, will ever claim the title of warrior. Tonight, as the stars will above the camp, you understand, this is not just training. This is transformation. And in the darkness, with your body broken but alive, you realize one thing with terrifying clarity: to live among Spartans, you must become more than human. The following day begins with a gnawing emptiness in your stomach. The meal is thin, a small portion of coarse barley and a splash of water. In Sparta, hunger is not an inconvenience, it is a teacher. You eat quickly, silently, feeling every grain scrape against your throat, every sip of water a fleeting relief. The boys finish their portions without hesitation. You stare at them, realizing they have been hungry before, many times, and they endure. The instructor steps forward, his eyes scanning each boy. "Today, you survive on the hunt again," he says. "But this time, food is not guaranteed. Only those who catch may eat." The boys scatter into the hills and brush, moving like shadows. You follow, uncertain, clumsy, every step reminding you how inexperienced and fragile you are compared to them. Hunger sharpens every sense. Every rustle of leaves, every movement in the distance, every bird's call feels amplified. You are hyper-aware. Every instinct is screaming, survive, find food, survive. Hours pass. Sweat mixes with dirt on your face. Your stomach growls violently. Your hands shake. You stumble over roots and stones, cursing yourself silently. Then, in the distance, you see movement, a rabbit, unaware, grazing. You freeze, heart hammering. The boy beside you, younger, calmer, creeps forward like a shadow, silent and deadly. Before you can act, he strikes, catching the rabbit bare-handed. Your stomach twists, part shame, part awe. The instructor's voice cuts through the tension: "Strike now." You fumble for a stick, attempting to jab at the fleeing rabbit. It darts away. Failure. The instructor steps forward, striking you across the shoulders with his stick. Pain explodes, burning through fatigue and fear. "Weakness," he says. Punished. You stumble, catching your breath, and try again. This time, you manage a weak throw. The stick grazes the rabbit, but it escapes. Another strike from the instructor drives you to your knees. Your body shakes uncontrollably. The boy who caught the first rabbit glances at you, expressionless, and disappears into the brush, already carrying his prey. Minutes stretch. Hunger gnaws harder. Sweat cools into a thin layer of frost. You see another rabbit, and your hands, trembling violently, finally steady. You throw. It lands. Not perfectly, but it stops the animal. You run forward, grab it, and hold it in your hands. Small victory. Small survival. The instructor steps close, inspecting you. "You caught food," he says. Pause. But survival is not guaranteed by success alone. Hunger teaches patience. Hunger teaches focus. Hunger teaches respect for strength and skill. You return to camp with the small prey, exhausted, shaking, but alive. The boys around you eat silently, observing. No one congratulates you. You eat in silence, tasting the iron tang of survival more than the rabbit itself. By evening, your body is numb, but your mind is sharper. Hunger has forced attention, endurance, and precision. You understand a lesson that goes beyond food: weakness is visible, failure is punished, and survival requires every part of you, body and mind alike. As night falls, you lie on the cold ground again, staring at stars, teeth chattering. Hunger is not gone. Pain is not gone. Fear is not gone. But something inside refuses to surrender. Small as it is, a spark forms, the understanding that in Sparta, every moment is a lesson, every failure a warning, and every victory, however tiny, a step closer to enduring. Tomorrow, the lesson will continue. Hunger will strike again. Cold will bite again. Pain will press against you relentlessly. And still, to survive in Sparta, you must become more than human. Dawn arrives with the same merciless cold that has haunted you since your first day. The instructor gathers the boys, and you, at the edge of a shallow river fed by snowmelt from the nearby mountains. The water swirls dark and fast, cruelly cold, even in the early sun. Today, the instructor says, you learn endurance of the body and mastery of the mind. The river will test you. Only those who endure without complaint survive. The boys step forward one by one. They submerge themselves fully, holding their breath underwater for long stretches. When they emerge, their faces are calm, almost serene. You watch, trembling, heart hammering, a shiver running deeper than any night's cold. The instructor grabs your shoulder. Into the water, he commands. Now. You stumble forward. The moment your feet touch the riverbed, a pain like fire shoots through your legs. Your breath catches. Your lungs scream. Your hands clench the water reflexively, trying to fight the current. The boys are already submerged, moving like shadows beneath the surface. A moment passes. You gasp and try to step back. The instructor slaps your back with his stick. Do not resist. Endure. You plunge forward. The water bites your skin, penetrates your bones. Every inch is agony. You thrash, panic roaring in your chest. The instructor grabs your collar and shoves you fully under. You struggle for air, limbs flailing. Darkness presses at the edges of your vision. You fight against instinct, fighting to obey. When he finally releases you, you break the surface, gasping violently, lungs burning. The boys watch silently, calm as statues. You taste blood from the split knuckle you forgot you injured yesterday. Pain mingles with fear and cold. Remain, the instructor orders. Do not let the cold break you. Time stretches endlessly. Your teeth chatter. Your body shakes violently. Muscles cramp. Every second is a battle of will. Survival is no longer about strength, it is about refusing surrender. You focus on breathing, on counting heartbeats, on repeating a mantra in your head: endure, survive, endure. Slowly, the trembling eases, not because the cold is gone, but because your body resigns to it. You are still alive. Barely. The instructor nods once, almost imperceptibly. Acceptable. You climb out, numb from head to toe. Every step back to camp is agony. Your clothes cling to your soaked skin. Your body aches in ways you didn't know possible. The boys move ahead, untouched, shadows of discipline. Back at the camp, you collapse on the frozen ground. Hunger, pain, and exhaustion mix into a dull, constant ache. The instructor surveys the group. You survived the river. Few do on their first attempt. But survival alone does not make a warrior. Strength is forged through repetition, through suffering, through the refusal to yield. The boys kneel or sit silently, drying themselves. They do not speak. They do not congratulate. They exist in a state of endurance that seems almost inhuman. You lie there, trembling, shivering, tasting the metallic tang of fear and effort. A grim realization settles over you: survival in Sparta is not about winning a single trial. It is about living, hour by hour, task by task, day by day, in constant trial. Weakness is visible. Weakness is punished. Weakness can be fatal. And yet, amid the pain, fear, and exhaustion, a quiet spark persists, a stubborn thought that maybe, just maybe, endurance can become strength. Tomorrow, the agoge continues. The river will not wait. Pain will not pause. Fear will not soften. And you will have to endure again. Night falls once more over the Spartan camp. Darkness creeps across the rough ground, but it brings no comfort. The boys gather silently, huddling together in small groups. You, however, are chosen for the night watch, a trial meant to test vigilance, patience, and endurance under fear. The instructor hands you a small torch. You will patrol the perimeter. Any lapse, and you will feel the consequences, he says. His eyes linger on you, cold and unyielding. Do not fail. The boys leave without a word. You are alone, the torch a feeble shield against the dark. Every sound, the rustle of leaves, the snapping of twigs, distant calls of animals, sets your nerves on edge. Your muscles ache from the day's trials. Your body is battered, your mind fraying. And yet, you walk. Step by step, along the edge of the camp, eyes scanning, ears straining. Minutes stretch endlessly. Your breath clouds in the cold night air. Every shadow seems alive. Every movement feels like threat. You wish for warmth. You wish for sleep. But the instructor's words echo in your mind, weakness is punished. Suddenly, a noise, subtle, faint. You freeze. Heart pounding, you creep forward. A small fox darts across the path. Relief floods you for a moment, but you know the test is not over. Observation, vigilance, endurance, each second counts. Hours pass. You walk the perimeter, tense, aware of every sound. Your legs are stiff, your shoulders sore, your back aching from countless blows and falls. Hunger gnaws, cold bites, and exhaustion drags at every step. But you do not stop. You cannot stop. The shadow of failure looms too close. At one point, you stumble on a root, nearly falling. Panic floods you. You catch yourself, but the fear is raw, sharp, unrelenting. The torch trembles in your hands. You repeat your mantra in your head, a quiet rhythm: endure, survive, endure. The words anchor you, steady your shaking body. Finally, the first light of dawn begins to creep over the hills. You complete the patrol without incident. No praise is given. No acknowledgement beyond a brief, silent nod from the instructor as he passes. But surviving the night, alone, vigilant, alert, feels like a small victory carved from pain and fear. The boys return from their own night trials, moving with their usual silent discipline. You sit briefly, muscles trembling, body aching, staring at the sky. The stars fade, replaced by the pale morning sun. Another night survived. Another lesson learned. You realize a terrifying truth: in Sparta, survival is not a reward. Survival is an expectation. Every day, every night, every hour is a test. Weakness is noticed. Weakness is punished. Weakness is fatal. Yet somewhere deep within, a stubborn spark persists. Each trial, each moment of pain, each night spent alone in fear and cold, they forge something. Not strength as the boys already possess, not mastery as the instructors command, but a foundation. A fragile, trembling foundation. A possibility that endurance, repeated endlessly, may someday become strength. The sun rises. Another day begins. You rise with it, battered, exhausted, and painfully aware that in Sparta, each day demands more than mere survival. Each day demands that you become something beyond human. And so you walk forward, into the light of the new day, knowing the ego will continue, unrelenting, merciless, and unyielding. The morning air is crisp, carrying the smell of earth and sweat. You rise from the frozen ground, every muscle aching, every joint stiff. The instructor gathers the boys, and you, in the central yard. Today's lesson is unusual. The focus is not solely on endurance or survival, but on unity, trust, and shared suffering. You will spar in pairs, the instructor announces. But this time, you fight together, not against each other. Trust will keep you alive. Cooperation will define your strength. Weakness in one is weakness in all. The boys form pairs silently. You are assigned a partner, slightly larger and older, with a face hardened by years of the agoge. His gaze is sharp, and you feel the weight of his unspoken judgment. The exercise begins. Your task is to carry him over an obstacle, navigate the course together, and survive coordinated strikes from the instructor. Immediately, you feel the immense weight pressing on your body. Every movement requires coordination, every step demands trust. One misstep, one faltering moment, and both of you will fall. Pain and fear intertwine. You struggle. Your muscles scream. Your arms tremble under the weight of your partner, your legs wobble over uneven ground. A strike from the instructor lands across your back. You gasp but continue, knowing that failure is not an option. Your partner does not speak, does not correct, does not guide. You must anticipate his movements, adjust instinctively, and endure together. Sweat drips into your eyes. Your heart pounds. The world narrows to pain, trust, and breath. Hours pass. You repeat the course. Each time, your coordination improves slightly. Each time, the fear and exhaustion do not lessen, but you adapt. Your partner begins to move in sync, a silent understanding forming between you. Pain remains, but the weight feels slightly lighter. Fear persists, but a faint confidence emerges. Together, you survive. The instructor steps back, observing. Good, he says simply. Few learn this lesson. Strength alone is not enough. Endurance alone is not enough. A Spartan survives not only through body and mind but through brotherhood. One weak link will break all. One strong pair may endure everything. You collapse beside your partner at the end of the course, chest heaving, arms trembling. He looks at you briefly, a nod, nothing more. But in that small gesture, you feel a strange acknowledgement. You are not defeated. Not entirely. You have survived together. Pain still courses through you. Exhaustion weighs heavily. Hunger gnaws. Fear lingers. Yet, amid the suffering, you glimpse something new, the beginnings of respect, of understanding, of connection. In Sparta, survival is not merely individual. It is collective. And sometimes, endurance is forged not in isolation, but in shared struggle. The sun rises higher. The yard is quiet. The boys sit silently, resting, waiting for the next trial. You lie on the cold ground, battered and broken, yet aware of a truth that resonates deep in your mind: strength is more than muscle. Endurance is more than pain. And survival, true survival, may depend on those who walk beside you, just as much as on yourself. Tomorrow, the agoge continues. Pain will return. Hunger will return. Fear will return. And you will face it again. But tonight, you carry a faint, hard-won understanding: you are part of something larger, something relentless, and something unforgiving. And in Sparta, only the relentless endure. Dawn breaks over the Spartan hills, pale and unforgiving. The boys rise silently, muscles stiff from yesterday's trials, bodies aching in ways that would have crushed you long ago. Today, the instructor announces a new challenge: a long march through rough terrain, carrying heavy loads. This is the test of endurance, strength, and willpower, the march that separates those who can survive from those who cannot. You will move together, the instructor says. The slowest determines the pace. Weakness will be punished, and endurance rewarded. Remember, survival is not given. It is earned. Heavy packs are distributed. You stagger under the weight, muscles burning immediately. Your partner from yesterday's exercise falls into step beside you. No words are exchanged. In Sparta, motion speaks louder than speech. The boys begin to march. Your legs scream, your back aches, but you follow. You stumble over rocks, roots, and uneven ground. Each step is agony. Each breath is shallow, labored, and painful. The instructor walks along the line, observing, striking anyone who falters. You feel his stick across your shoulders, a sharp, searing reminder that weakness is unacceptable. The boy beside you does not falter. He does not waver. You try to match him, step for step, but your body screams with pain. Hours stretch. Sun climbs high. Heat adds to exhaustion, but in the shadows of fatigue, something strange happens. You begin to find a rhythm. The pain remains, but your mind narrows. Step, breath, endure. Step, breath, endure. Pain is no longer merely suffering, it is instruction. Fear is no longer merely dread, it is fuel. Every movement, every step, is part of survival. At one point, a boy stumbles, nearly falling. The instructor strikes him sharply. You flinch, aware that your own weakness would be punished too. You press on, muscles screaming, heart pounding, body trembling. Each mile feels like an eternity. Hunger gnaws. Sweat burns. But you endure. You endure because to stop is unthinkable. You endure because survival demands it. By mid-afternoon, the march slows. The boys reach a rocky plateau, and the instructor calls a halt. No one speaks. You collapse on the ground, shaking, every joint in agony. Your partner sits beside you silently, and for a brief moment, a shared glance passes between you. Respect, perhaps, acknowledgement that both have survived the same trial. The instructor steps forward. Few can endure a single day of this. Fewer can endure many. Survival is not victory. Endurance is not glory. Strength is not measured by muscles or speed, but by refusal to surrender when every part of the body demands it. Remember, a Spartan lives through pain, fear, hunger, and cold. Only those who endure everything may call themselves warriors. You lie on the rocky ground, trembling, exhausted beyond words. The boys settle silently around you. Pain pulses through your muscles, but you also feel a strange sense of clarity. Endurance has a rhythm. Fear has a limit. Hunger has lessons. And the spark that refuses to die inside you begins to burn steadily. The sun dips low in the sky. The march will continue tomorrow. Pain, hunger, and exhaustion will return. And yet, for the first time, you realize something crucial: you are still alive. You have endured more than you thought possible. You have survived moments that would have destroyed a lesser body, a lesser mind. In Sparta, survival is daily, brutal, and relentless. But each day endured brings a small, hard-earned understanding: weakness is visible. Weakness is punished. Endurance is rewarded, not with praise, but with life. And in the harsh light of evening, you understand that to survive the agoge, you must endure not only the pain around you but the one inside you, the one that whispers doubt, fear, and surrender. Tomorrow, you march again. The camp is silent in the early morning, except for the crunch of feet on frost-hardened earth. The instructor assembles the boys and you near a fire pit, small embers still glowing from last night's fire. Today's lesson is a test of adaptability, survival between extremes of fire and cold. You will endure both, the instructor announces. Heat and cold. Hunger and fatigue. Only those who accept both may survive. The boys move to the fire, hands hovering over the flames. You step closer, feeling warmth against your chilled skin. But the instructor yells suddenly, "Now into the river." The cold water crashes over you like ice knives. Your muscles seize. Pain explodes. Breath freezes in your chest. You claw at the riverbed, struggling to maintain control. The fire, distant, taunts you: warmth is close, yet unreachable. Your teeth chatter, your lungs burn. The instructor wades alongside you. "Endure," he shouts. "Do not seek comfort. Do not falter. Accept the fire and the cold as one." The boys move fluidly, submerging and rising with precision. You thrash, faltering, nearly sinking beneath the icy current. Every instinct screams to retreat to the fire, but the instructor drives you forward. Pain, hunger, fatigue, they are constant. Survival depends on mastering them. Minutes stretch endlessly. Your body is numb, your limbs weak. The fire blazes in the distance, but you do not dare move toward it. You focus on breathing, counting strokes, repeating the silent mantra, endure, survive, endure. Each repetition strengthens a mind frayed by exhaustion. Each movement builds endurance in a body battered by cold and pain. Finally, the instructor signals the end. You stagger out of the river, shivering violently, dripping with icy water. The fire now seems close, and you stumble toward it, collapsing beside the flames. Pain and cold fight within you, mingling with hunger and exhaustion. The boys sit nearby, silent, their movements calm, practiced, almost effortless. The instructor surveys you. Few survive this trial without surrender. Pain is life. Endurance is survival. Fear is not weakness if it drives action. You lie beside the fire, trembling. Your body aches, your stomach growls, your lungs burn. And yet, for the first time, a strange sense of comprehension settles inside you. Survival is not about avoiding pain. Survival is about walking through it, embracing it, enduring it, and refusing surrender. The sun rises higher, casting long shadows across the camp. Tomorrow will bring more trials. Hunger, cold, fire, pain, fear, each will return in relentless succession. You will endure again. You will be tested again. And in the quiet, cold dawn, you realize a Spartan truth: endurance is a slow, painful transformation. Survival is not given. It is forged through fire, through cold, through fear, through repeated refusal to yield. Weakness is punished. Pain is constant. Fear is fuel. Tonight, as you lie on frozen ground, trembling and exhausted, you hold on to a simple understanding: survival is more than life itself. Survival is endurance. And in Sparta, only those who endure beyond all human limits will ever be called warriors. The morning dawns pale and sharp, each breath visible in the cold air. Your body is battered, your muscles stiff, your joints sore from countless trials. Yet today, the instructor announces a new challenge, one of the mind as much as the body. You have endured pain, hunger, cold, and exhaustion, he says. But a Spartan is not merely flesh and bone. A Spartan is mind, discipline, and focus. Today, we test the strength within. The boys gather in a circle. The instructor places small weights, sticks, and stones before you. Each task you perform, he says, requires concentration, precision, and patience. Missteps will be punished. Hesitation will be punished. Only focus will keep you alive. You begin with lifting and balancing tasks. Stones heavy enough to tear at your arms, sticks requiring perfect placement. Every movement is exact. Every miscalculation results in pain, a strike, a fall, a sharp reminder of human limits. You lift, adjust, stumble, rise, repeat. Sweat drips into your eyes, mixing with blood from previous injuries. Every fiber of your body screams. Next, coordination exercises. You and your partner must move in perfect synchrony over uneven ground, stepping carefully, adjusting to balance and weight. A single error results in a fall or a strike from the instructor. Pain, exhaustion, and fear mingle as your body responds, not only to physical pressure but to mental demands. Each task requires observation, anticipation, and split-second reaction. Hours pass in relentless repetition. Your mind is frayed, every thought sharpened by pain and focus. Hunger gnaws. Fatigue presses. Fear threatens. Yet you continue. Each success is fleeting. Each failure is a harsh lesson. The boys around you perform flawlessly, their movements like extensions of muscle memory and mental discipline. You stumble, rise, endure. The instructor steps back, observing. Few grasp this lesson on the first day. Focus without fear. Discipline without complaint. Pain is inevitable. Endurance is the measure of worth. Weakness in mind is as fatal as weakness in body. You collapse on the cold ground, exhausted, shaking, every muscle quivering. Your mind races, heart pounding. And yet, in this broken, battered state, you begin to understand something crucial: endurance is not merely physical. Strength is not only muscle. Survival demands the mind, sharpened, relentless, and unyielding. The boys sit silently, observing, calm, composed, their eyes reflecting years of the agoge's merciless training. You feel small, weak, human. And yet, a spark burns inside. Pain, exhaustion, and fear cannot extinguish it. Each trial survived, each task endured, each failure corrected, builds a resilience deeper than bruised flesh. The sun rises higher. The air is crisp, biting, yet life pulses through your body in painful, exhilarating rhythm. You realize, with bitter clarity, that every day in Sparta is not simply survived, it is endured, and endurance is strength. Weakness is punished, pain is constant, fear is fuel, and survival is earned in every breath, every movement, every second. Tonight, you will sleep on frozen earth, muscles aching, mind racing. Tomorrow, another trial awaits. Hunger will return. Pain will return. Fear will return. And you will endure again. But in the quiet, aching spaces of your body and mind, you recognize this truth: endurance is the forge of the Spartan warrior. Survival is the fire. And only those who endure beyond all human limits may truly claim the name of warrior. The morning sun cuts through the chill, but warmth is a stranger. You rise stiff, body battered, mind frayed from countless trials. Today, the instructor emphasizes repetition, the relentless, unforgiving repetition that shapes Spartans. You will repeat every task you have learned, he announces. Strike, endure, hunt, march, survive. Only mastery through repetition earns survival. Weakness repeats itself, punishment repeats itself. Endurance is forged in cycles of pain. The boys move with mechanical precision. You stumble after the first obstacle, muscles trembling. The instructor strikes your shoulders sharply. Pain blossoms. You rise, shaking, and continue. Each trial repeats, each task revisited. Lifting, carrying, striking, running, enduring cold, facing hunger, each is performed again, without pause. Hours pass in a blur. Your body aches violently. Every joint, every muscle, every tendon screams. Hunger gnaws relentlessly. Your mind wavers, teetering on the edge of collapse. Fear and doubt press like a weight on your chest. Yet the mantra repeats in your mind: endure, survive, endure. Each repetition strengthens a mind frayed by exhaustion. Each repetition steels a body battered by pain. The boys move with uncanny efficiency, their motions fluid, precise, unhesitating. You compare yourself silently and feel the weight of inexperience. Your failures are immediate, visible, punished. Each misstep results in a strike, each hesitation a reminder of human fragility. Pain becomes constant, inescapable, relentless. Yet in the endless repetition, something shifts. Your movements begin to sink. Your breathing steadies. Pain is not gone, but it is anticipated. Hunger is not diminished, but it is tolerated. Fear is not extinguished, but it sharpens focus. Endurance is no longer reaction, it begins to feel like rhythm. The instructor watches silently, eyes cold, unyielding. Few learn this lesson fully, he says. Repetition is life. Repetition is strength. Repetition is survival. Weakness becomes visible through cycles of failure. Strength is measured in consistency. You collapse briefly on the frozen ground, trembling, chest heaving, body screaming in agony. And yet, a spark of understanding remains. Endurance is cumulative. Pain is a tool. Fear is fuel. Each repetition brings a fragment of mastery. Survival is not an event, it is a process, built moment by moment, trial by trial. The boys settle into their positions, silently enduring their own cycles of repetition. You rise, shaking, and prepare for the next iteration. Hunger claws at your stomach. Cold gnaws at your flesh. Exhaustion weighs heavily. And yet, the mantra persists: endure, survive, endure. The day stretches into evening. Every moment is a test. Every motion demands attention. Every breath is an exercise in will. And somewhere within the pain and fatigue, you feel the slow forging of something new: resilience. Strength. The faint beginnings of what may one day be called endurance worthy of a Spartan warrior. The sun dips below the hills. Night will come, cold and unforgiving. Tomorrow, repetition continues. Hunger, pain, and fear return with the dawn. And still, you will endure. For in Sparta, survival is not granted. Survival is earned through endless repetition. Weakness is punished. Pain is constant. Fear is fuel. And only those who endure beyond human limits may hope to stand as warriors. Night descends over the Spartan camp, cold and absolute. Stars glimmer faintly above, distant and indifferent. You are chosen for another trial, a silent vigil, testing patience, awareness, and endurance under isolation. You will sit, the instructor commands, watch, listen, endure. One motion, one word, one lapse in attention, and punishment follows. Survival depends on vigilance, and vigilance is a Spartan's burden. You settle on the frozen ground, torchlight flickering faintly before you. The boys gather silently elsewhere, some observing, some preparing for other tasks. You are alone. Your body aches from the day's repetition. Hunger gnaws relentlessly. Cold pierces every layer of clothing. Your mind is frayed. Seconds stretch into minutes. Minutes stretch into hours. Every snap of a twig, rustle of leaves, and distant animal call sets your nerves on edge. You force your breath to remain steady, your body to remain still. Every instinct screams to move, to react, to flee. Every instinct must be ignored. Endure, survive, endure. The night is long. Your muscles stiffen. Fingers grow numb. Hunger claws at your stomach. Exhaustion weighs on your eyelids. Your teeth chatter. And yet, the instructor's words echo: vigilance is life. Inattention is death. Weakness is punished. Hours pass. Your senses sharpen. Shadows and sounds become patterns, the night revealing its subtle secrets. You notice a fox, a rustle of wind through branches, a distant owl's call. Each observation is a small victory, proof that focus can survive fatigue, fear, and pain. Occasionally, the instructor approaches silently, observing. One misstep, one twitch, one lapse, you know the punishment would follow. But you endure. Every nerve is alive, every muscle tensed, every thought concentrated on the rhythm of observation. By dawn, you are trembling from cold and exhaustion. Your body is battered, mind strained, but you have survived. The instructor nods briefly, his gaze assessing. Few endure an entire vigil without faltering, he says. Endurance is silent. Strength is quiet. Survival is attention, discipline, and will. Remember this. The boys return from their own trials. They sit or lie silently, bodies stiff but composed. No words are exchanged. In Sparta, survival is not praised, it is expected. Weakness is remembered, punished. Strength is lived, endured, and carried forward silently. You rise, legs trembling, every joint protesting. Hunger, cold, and fatigue remain. Pain is constant. Fear lingers. And yet, amid the silence of the vigil, you feel a spark of understanding. Survival is not only movement, action, or combat. It is stillness. It is focus. It is the unyielding will to endure even when the body screams to surrender. The sun rises over the hills. Another day begins. Hunger, pain, fear, and fatigue will return. Each trial will test body, mind, and spirit. And you will endure again. For in Sparta, endurance is everything. Weakness is visible. Weakness is punished. Pain is constant. Fear is fuel. And only those who endure beyond all human limits may ever call themselves warriors. The camp is quiet at dawn. Only the wind and the distant calls of animals disturb the stillness. The boys assemble, and the instructor steps forward with a solemn expression. Today's lesson is not about physical strength, hunger, or pain, it is about silence, observation, and self-control. You speak only when commanded, he says. You act only when necessary. Weakness is revealed in noise, impatience, and haste. Silence is strength. Awareness is survival. The boys disperse into small groups, carrying out tasks without speaking, without complaint. You follow instructions carefully, every movement deliberate. The absence of words feels unnatural, even painful. Your body aches, your muscles stiffen, and your mind races to remain alert and precise. The instructor moves among you, observing closely. A single misstep, a whispered complaint, or a hesitation is met with a sharp strike or a cold glare. Pain and fear reinforce every movement. Silence is enforced through discipline, and every boy understands the stakes. Hours pass. You engage in small tasks, lifting, carrying, balancing, tracking, each done in complete silence. Every sound of your own breathing seems amplified. Hunger gnaws, cold bites, and fatigue weighs heavily, yet the necessity of focus keeps you alert. Endure, survive, endure. Your partner from previous trials moves beside you. No words are exchanged, only silent coordination. You begin to notice subtle cues in posture, breathing, and glance, communication without speech. Survival depends not only on your strength but on your ability to read the world, to anticipate, to respond silently. The instructor interrupts at intervals, striking any boy who falters or hesitates. Each strike teaches more than pain, it teaches attention, patience, and control. The lesson is slow, excruciating, and unyielding. Every boy is tested not just in body, but in mind, in will, in the capacity to remain calm amid discomfort. By late afternoon, your body is exhausted. Hunger is sharp. Every muscle aches. Every joint protests. Yet something profound emerges: focus. Mental clarity sharpens. Awareness heightens. Pain and fear persist, but they no longer dominate. You begin to understand the power of controlled action, measured patience, and silent observation. The instructor finally steps back. Silence is not absence, he says. Silence is presence. Attention without distraction. Strength without display. Those who master this endure beyond what the body can bear. Those who fail are weak in all ways, body, mind, and spirit. The sun begins to dip, casting long shadows across the camp. The boys settle silently, exhausted, each reflecting on the lessons of the day. You lie on the frozen ground, trembling, aching, and yet aware of a subtle shift within yourself. Pain is still constant. Hunger persists. Fear still whispers. But endurance, even in silence, has begun to take root. Tomorrow will bring more trials: hunger, cold, combat, repetition, vigilance. Each day in Sparta demands more than survival. Each day tests the limits of human strength, will, and spirit. And yet, the quiet understanding remains: in Sparta, survival is not simply being alive. Survival is endurance. Survival is mastering pain, fear, hunger, and oneself. As night falls, you close your eyes, muscles stiff, body trembling, mind racing. A spark of resilience persists. Endurance grows quietly. Weakness is punished, pain is constant, fear is fuel. And only those who endure beyond all human limits may ever hope to be called warriors. The day fades into a gray dusk as the instructor calls the boys together. Today's trial is hunting, not merely for food, but as a test of stealth, patience, and the fusion of mind and body in survival. Hunger and exhaustion make the exercise more brutal, but in Sparta, the lessons are never softened. You will track, you will stalk, you will kill or return empty-handed, the instructor says. Success is life. Failure is punishment. Weakness is unforgivable. You follow the boys silently into the forest. Shadows lengthen, and the cold seeps deep into your bones. Every step must be calculated, every sound could betray you. Hunger twists your stomach painfully, reminding you that food is both necessity and reward. Hours pass. You stumble, misstep, nearly crush a twig. Panic surges, but you suppress it, focusing on rhythm, breath, movement. Endure, survive, endure. Every instinct screams to move faster, strike sooner, act without thought. But experience has taught you patience is survival. Finally, you spot movement, a deer grazing in a clearing. You freeze, muscles trembling, heart hammering. The boys nearby pause, each calculating their approach. You remember lessons of previous hunts: precision, patience, timing. Any mistake could mean failure, or punishment. You creep forward, stick in hand, careful to place each foot silently. The deer shifts its head, ears twitching, sensing danger. Your body tenses, mind sharp as a blade. Fear gnaws at you, but you force focus. One deliberate motion, one careful strike, and the deer falls. The instructor steps out of the shadows. Survival requires precision. Strength alone is insufficient. Fear and hunger sharpen the senses, but mastery is required to endure. The boys gather the kill silently. No praise is offered. Hunger gnaws, but the lesson is clear: survival is earned through patience, skill, and endurance. Strength and courage are meaningless without control and awareness. Night settles, cold and absolute. You carry the deer back to camp with the boys. Every step is a reminder of fatigue, hunger, and pain, yet also of mastery, focus, and survival. The fire glows in the distance, a fragile comfort against the cold. You are exhausted, battered, and yet alive. The instructor surveys the boys. Few survive the hunt unbroken. Few endure the hunger, fear, and cold to master the kill. Survival is relentless. Pain is constant. Fear is fuel. Weakness is punished. Only those who endure beyond all human limits may live and be called warriors. You settle near the fire, muscles trembling, stomach growling, mind racing. Hunger, fatigue, and cold remain constant companions. Yet a spark of understanding burns within. Endurance is mastery of the body, mind, and instinct. Survival is not given, it is earned in the shadows, in silence, in pain. As stars will overhead, you realize a Spartan truth: each day, each trial, each moment of suffering teaches a brutal lesson. Weakness is visible. Weakness is punished. Strength is forged in hunger, fear, and pain. And only those who endure beyond all human limits may call themselves warriors. The night is long and merciless. Frost coats the ground, stiffening every blade of grass, searing your fingers and toes with relentless cold. You wake before dawn, body battered from yesterday's hunt, muscles screaming from exhaustion, mind frayed by fatigue. The instructor gathers the boys without a word. Today is a test of endurance in the cold: no fire, no comfort, no mercy. You will march, stand, and endure, the instructor announces. Cold tests the body, hunger tests the mind, pain tests the spirit. Survival requires all three. You step into the frozen world, every movement agony. Frost bites at exposed skin, water from the icy stream seeps into your boots, numbing your feet. The boys move silently, disciplined, like shadows moving through the cold. You stumble, falter, muscles threatening to give out. A strike from the instructor lands across your back, sharp and precise. Pain spikes, forcing you upright. Endure, survive, endure. Hours pass. The frost thickens on your clothing, your breath clouds in ragged puffs. Hunger gnaws like a constant companion. Every step is deliberate, every motion measured against exhaustion. The boys around you move as one, their rhythm impeccable. You struggle to keep pace, muscles shaking, lungs burning. The cold penetrates, but the lesson is clear, weakness is exposed by hesitation. At one point, the instructor orders a pause. The boys kneel silently, shivering, waiting. You collapse, trembling uncontrollably, teeth chattering violently. Your mind is foggy, but a strange clarity persists. Survival is not about comfort. Survival is about enduring beyond what the body believes possible. The march resumes. Every step is punishment. Every breath is fuel. Pain, hunger, and fear converge, yet the mantra repeats silently, endure, survive, endure. You force each foot forward, one step at a time, knowing the slightest lapse could mean punishment or death. By mid-morning, your body is numb, yet you continue. The cold is a teacher, merciless but truthful. You understand something profound: endurance is not measured in warmth, not in comfort, not in absence of pain. Endurance is the refusal to surrender to the relentless forces that batter you. The boys complete the march together, and the instructor surveys the line. Few can endure frost unbroken. Fewer can endure frost, hunger, and pain in unison. Survival is earned through persistence. Weakness is punished. Strength is forged in unyielding adversity. You collapse on the frozen ground, trembling violently, exhausted, cold, hungry. Pain courses through your body, yet a spark remains, a small, fierce understanding that each trial endured, each step taken against agony and cold, is a fragment of survival. As dawn breaks, painting the frost with pale light, you realize a Spartan truth: life here is not granted, not safe, not forgiving. Hunger, pain, fear, and cold are constant. Only those who endure beyond all human limits may survive. And you are still alive. The sun barely rises, pale and weak, barely cutting through the chill of early morning. The instructor gathers the boys and you for today's trial: hunger. Not a simple lack of food, but prolonged deprivation to test patience, endurance, and the strength of the mind over the body. You will go without, he announces, and perform tasks demanding all your energy, all your focus, all your will. Survival is earned when the body screams for sustenance, but the mind refuses surrender. The boys set off into the terrain with minimal rations, each carrying only a small portion of bread and dried meat. Your stomach knots, muscles weaken, and each step feels heavier than the last. Hunger gnaws relentlessly, a constant reminder of human fragility. The instructor gives tasks that require effort: carrying heavy stones, running over uneven ground, balancing on logs, and maintaining silent vigilance. Each task demands the energy you do not have. Every movement stretches the limits of endurance. Hours pass. Hunger becomes a physical scream. Your stomach churns violently, your limbs shake uncontrollably, and every breath feels like it pulls strength from your core. Yet you push forward, repeating the silent mantra: endure, survive, endure. Each step is an act of defiance against the weakening of the body. The boys around you move with the grace of the experienced, seemingly untouched by the gnawing pain of hunger. You falter, stumble, nearly collapse. A strike from the instructor lands across your back, sharp, precise, a brutal reminder that weakness will not be tolerated. Pain mixes with hunger and exhaustion, yet still, you endure. By midday, the landscape stretches endlessly. The sun blazes, making no concession for your suffering. Your body shakes. Every muscle is tight with fatigue. Your stomach is empty, gnawing, yet the mind must remain sharp. Observation, patience, and coordination are essential. Survival is more than muscle. Survival is focus. Finally, the instructor calls a halt. The boys drop to the ground, trembling, exhausted, silent. No food is immediately offered. Survival has been tested. Hunger has been measured. Strength has been observed. Only those who endured without complaint, without collapse, may yet stand as warriors. You lie on the frozen earth, trembling violently, pain and hunger coursing through every fiber of your body. Yet within, a spark persists. Endurance grows not from comfort, not from nourishment, but from the stubborn refusal to yield. The boys around you sit silently. No praise, no comfort, only the quiet acknowledgement of mutual suffering. In Sparta, survival is not celebrated, it is expected. Weakness is remembered. Strength is forged in hunger, pain, and unrelenting discipline. As the sun sets, casting long shadows across the landscape, you realize a harsh truth: survival in Sparta is constant, relentless, and brutal. Hunger is only one of many trials. Pain, cold, fear, and exhaustion return with the dawn. Endurance is tested again and again. Only those who endure beyond human limits may hope to survive. Tonight, as you lie trembling on the frozen ground, starving and exhausted, you understand: survival is not living. Survival is endurance. Survival is refusing to yield when every part of the body and mind demand surrender. And you are still alive. The morning sun strikes the Spartan camp with harsh light. Your body is battered, muscles sore, limbs trembling from hunger and exhaustion. Today, the instructor announces a trial of pure strength: lifting, carrying, and wrestling, but not alone. You are tested against your peers, against your own limits, and against the unrelenting expectation of Sparta. You will push, lift, and fight, the instructor declares. Strength alone is meaningless without endurance. Weakness is punished. Those who endure become warriors. The boys assemble in a rough clearing. Stones, logs, and weighted packs are distributed. You strain to lift the heavy objects, muscles quivering violently. Your partner, larger and stronger, moves with fluidity, seeming to defy fatigue. Every misstep results in a strike from the instructor's stick, a sharp reminder of the stakes. You push, you lift, you stumble, you rise. Pain radiates through your shoulders, arms, and back. Hunger gnaws relentlessly at your stomach. Sweat mixes with dirt and blood. Fear surges every time the instructor walks by, yet you force yourself to continue, repeating the silent mantra: endure, survive, endure. Next comes wrestling. You face a boy slightly stronger than you, his body coiled, movements precise. The fight is merciless. Every grapple, every hold, every struggle tests endurance and will. Your muscles scream, lungs burn, and your vision blurs with effort. One mistake, one lapse in focus, could mean being thrown, struck, or humiliated. Hours pass in relentless exertion. Stones are carried again, logs lifted, holds repeated. Pain becomes constant, a companion. Fatigue presses down like a weight on your chest. Hunger claws violently at your gut. Yet the mantra persists, anchoring your mind and body through agony. The instructor observes silently. Strength alone does not create warriors, he says. Endurance alone does not create warriors. Survival is built by mastering strength under pain, under fear, under hunger. Weakness is visible. Weakness is punished. By late afternoon, your body shakes uncontrollably. Your joints ache, muscles scream, and blood pounds in your ears. Yet within that trembling exhaustion, a small realization emerges: survival is more than movement. Survival is refusing to surrender when every part of your body demands it. Strength is useless without endurance. Endurance is meaningless without control. The boys settle near the fire, silent, battered, exhausted. No words of praise are given. In Sparta, survival is expected. Weakness is punished, remembered. Strength is forged in repetition, pain, fear, and discipline. As night falls, you collapse on the frozen earth, body trembling, muscles burning, mind racing. Tomorrow will bring more trials: hunger, cold, fear, repetition, vigilance. Pain will return. Weakness will be punished again. And you will endure. Because in Sparta, survival is not life. Survival is endurance. Survival is enduring beyond human limits, beyond fear, beyond pain, beyond hunger. Only then may you hope to be called a warrior. And for now, you are still alive. The camp is silent under the cold night sky, stars glimmering faintly through the mist. You are chosen for the night watch, a test of vigilance, patience, and mental endurance in near total isolation. Hunger claws at your stomach. Fatigue presses your eyelids down. Pain thumps through every muscle, yet you must remain alert. You will observe, the instructor commands. One lapse, one misjudgment, and punishment follows. Weakness is exposed in the dark. Strength survives through vigilance. You settle in a clearing near the edge of the forest, cold seeping through your clothes. Every sound is amplified: the rustle of leaves, distant animal calls, the crunch of a twig. Your heart pounds with anticipation, each beat echoing in your ears. Fear tries to seize your mind, but you force it back. Endure, survive, endure. Hours stretch slowly. The boys assigned to other parts of the camp move silently, shadows in the night. Your body trembles, muscles stiff with cold. Hunger gnaws. Exhaustion tugs at your consciousness. Yet every sense is heightened: sight sharp, hearing acute, mind alert. One misstep could bring punishment. One failure could bring death. At times, the instructor approaches silently, watching, waiting. You feel his presence like a shadow, knowing that even a subtle lapse in focus will be punished. You shift slightly, adjust your position, and remain silent. Pain mixes with vigilance, fear fuels attention. You begin to understand that survival is mental as much as physical. The night is long. Your teeth chatter uncontrollably, limbs numb, stomach twisted with hunger. Sleep tugs at your mind. Yet still, you endure. Each sound is processed, each movement observed, each threat anticipated. The body screams for rest, but the mind maintains control. Endurance has become rhythm, focus becomes instinct. By the final hours before dawn, the landscape begins to lighten. The boys gather silently, each exhausted but intact. The instructor steps forward. Few endure the night watch without faltering. Strength alone is insufficient. Endurance alone is insufficient. Survival is mastery of mind, body, and will. Weakness is visible. Weakness is punished. You collapse to the frozen ground, trembling violently. Hunger remains, cold persists, exhaustion lingers, yet a strange sense of accomplishment forms in your chest. You are still alive. You have survived fear, cold, and isolation. The sun rises slowly, pale and weak, cutting through mist and frost. Another day begins, promising more trials, more hunger, more pain, more fear. Yet the night watch has taught you a lesson no strike or fall could: vigilance, focus, and mental endurance are as vital as muscle or courage. In Sparta, survival is relentless. Pain is constant. Hunger is sharp. Fear is fuel. Weakness is punished. And only those who endure beyond all human limits may ever call themselves warriors. Tonight, you rest briefly, trembling, exhausted, yet alive. Dawn breaks harshly over the Spartan hills. Your body is battered, muscles sore, joints stiff from endless trials. Today, the instructor has prepared what he calls the Gauntlet of Pain, a relentless sequence of physical and mental tests designed to push endurance, strength, and spirit to their absolute limits. You will face obstacle after obstacle, he says, endure pain after pain. Survival depends on persistence, focus, and refusal to yield. Weakness will be punished without mercy. The gauntlet begins immediately. You lift, carry, and push heavy stones over uneven terrain. Your legs tremble violently with every step. Hunger gnaws at your stomach. Pain courses through every muscle. The instructor strikes swiftly when your form falters or hesitation appears. Every movement demands focus, every breath costs effort. Next comes running through mud, over jagged rocks, under low-hanging branches, then sprinting across open ground while carrying a weighted pack. Your lungs burn. Your chest aches. The cold sweat on your skin freezes quickly in the morning air. Yet there is no pause, no rest, no mercy. The mantra repeats, endure, survive, endure. The boys around you move with precision and fluidity. You stumble. You rise. You stagger under weight that feels impossible to bear. Fear and exhaustion gnaw at your mind. Every nerve screams. Every joint protests. And yet, you continue. Pain becomes a constant companion. Hunger remains relentless. Fatigue claws at every motion. The instructor steps back, observing, striking anyone who falters. Few survive the gauntlet fully, he says. Strength without endurance is useless. Endurance without focus is wasted. Survival is earned through mastering pain, fear, hunger, and fatigue. Weakness is visible. Weakness is punished. Hours stretch endlessly. Your body is trembling, shaking uncontrollably. Your mind wavers, teetering on collapse. Hunger and cold combine to erode concentration. Yet within the fog of agony, a strange clarity emerges: survival is not granted. Survival is earned, step by agonizing step, breath by ragged breath, trial by relentless trial. The final test is wrestling with exhaustion itself. Every movement is a battle. Every breath is a victory. The boys around you are shadows, each enduring in silence, pain mirrored in every trembling muscle. You push, lift, fall, rise, continue. Endurance becomes instinct, focus sharp as a blade, fear a tool rather than a master. By late afternoon, the gauntlet ends. You collapse, trembling, every muscle screaming, body and mind exhausted beyond comprehension. Yet amid the pain, hunger, and fatigue, a spark of understanding persists. Survival in Sparta is not a gift, not an accident, not an inevitability. It is hard, relentless, and brutal. It is forged through pain, repetition, hunger, cold, fear, and unyielding will. The boys gather silently, battered and exhausted. No praise is given. Survival is expected. Weakness is remembered. Strength is forged in suffering, endurance, and discipline. As the sun sets over the Spartan hills, casting long shadows, you lie on frozen earth, trembling, gasping, aching, and alive. Pain is constant. Hunger persists. Fatigue lingers. Fear still whispers. And yet, endurance remains. Because in Sparta, survival is not life. Survival is endurance. Survival is mastering pain, fear, hunger, and the limits of the body and mind. Only those who endure beyond all human limits may ever call themselves warriors. The sun is high, unyielding, beating down on the Spartan training grounds. Today's trial is combat, not mock fighting, but full-force testing of skill, endurance, and the relentless will to survive against fellow trainees. Hunger, fatigue, and pain remain constant companions, yet now your body must respond with precision, speed, and strength. You will fight, the instructor commands. Every movement counts. Every hesitation is weakness. Only those who endure the full measure of fear, fatigue, and pain may survive. Only those who survive may be warriors. You face your opponent, a boy slightly larger, slightly stronger, yet equally exhausted from the relentless agoge. The clash is immediate. Each strike, block, and grapple is calculated, each motion a fight against pain and fear as much as against the other boy. Muscles scream. Lungs burn. Sweat, blood, and dirt coat your body. The instructor moves among the combatants, striking anyone who falters, hesitates, or loses focus. Pain and fear surge like tides, yet you force each movement, each breath, each defensive maneuver. Every instinct must be sharpened. Every ounce of energy must be harnessed. Endure, survive, endure. Hours pass in brutal succession. Opponent after opponent, round after round, your body trembling violently from exertion. Hunger gnaws. Muscles threaten to give out. Fatigue weighs like stone. Yet each time you rise, each time you grapple, each time you block and counter, endurance grows, focus sharpens, and fear becomes fuel rather than enemy. The boys around you move like shadows, bodies responding fluidly, minds honed by repeated trials. You stumble, fall, rise, falter, push again. Pain is constant, yet manageable. Fear is no longer paralyzing. Hunger is sharp, but secondary to survival. Endurance, focus, and will drive each motion. By late afternoon, the instructor signals the end. The boys collapse, bodies trembling, bruised, exhausted, yet alive. Few have survived every round without faltering. Few have mastered the rhythm of combat under the extreme pressures of hunger, fatigue, pain, and fear. Combat is not strength alone, the instructor says. Combat is endurance, focus, discipline, and will. Weakness is visible. Weakness is punished. Survival is mastery of body and mind, even when both are broken. You lie on the frozen ground, muscles burning, heart hammering, mind racing. Hunger, exhaustion, and pain are relentless. Yet within the suffering, you feel the slow growth of resilience, the hard-won understanding that survival in Sparta is more than moving, lifting, or striking. Survival is enduring, mastering fear, hunger, pain, and the body's limits. The sun begins to dip. Shadows lengthen. The boys gather silently, battered and exhausted, no words exchanged. Survival is expected. Weakness is punished. Strength is forged through relentless trials. Tonight, you rest, trembling, body aching, mind alert. Pain is constant. Hunger persists. Fatigue lingers. Fear whispers still. And yet, endurance remains. In Sparta, survival is not simply living. Survival is enduring beyond human limits. Only those who endure may hope to be called warriors. The sun rises pale over the Spartan hills. Your body is battered, muscles screaming, joints stiff from relentless trials. Hunger, fatigue, and cold are constant companions. Today, the instructor announces an endless march, a test of endurance, willpower, and the refusal to surrender. You will march without pause, he commands. Pain will grow. Hunger will gnaw. Fatigue will threaten collapse. Survival is measured not in comfort, but in the refusal to yield. Weakness is punished. The boys fall into formation, each carrying weighted packs, supplies, and stones. You stumble from the first step. Muscles quiver violently, lungs burn with exertion. Hunger twists painfully in your stomach. Every movement is agony, yet the mantra persists: endure, survive, endure. Hours pass. The terrain rises and falls, each step a test of body and mind. Sweat freezes on your skin in the cold morning air. Pain radiates through every joint, every tendon, every muscle fiber. The boys around you move with fluid precision, seemingly unaffected by the relentless march. You falter, nearly collapse, but a sharp strike from the instructor forces you upright. The march is unyielding. Hunger gnaws. Fatigue presses down like a lead weight. Pain surges through your back, legs, and shoulders. Fear whispers of collapse, of failure, of punishment. Yet each step forward is a defiance of weakness. Each breath, each motion, each ounce of effort builds endurance. By midday, the sun beats down, relentless. Muscles scream. Sweat mixes with dirt. Your feet ache with every step. The boys continue with unbroken focus, rhythm forged from repeated trials. You stumble, rise, falter, and continue. The mind becomes sharper as the body weakens. Pain is constant. Hunger is gnawing. Fatigue is overwhelming. Hours stretch into a long, unbroken blur. The endless march is both physical and mental. Every sensation reminds you of human limits, every joint, every tendon, every aching muscle, yet you endure. Survival is not comfort, not strength, not skill alone. Survival is refusal to surrender, even when every part of the body demands it. As the sun dips toward the horizon, the instructor finally calls a halt. The boys collapse onto the ground, trembling, exhausted, bruised, and battered. Hunger persists. Pain persists. Fatigue persists. Yet a spark of understanding burns quietly within you. Survival in Sparta is forged through suffering, endurance, and unyielding will. The boys gather silently. No praise, no comfort is given. Survival is expected. Weakness is remembered. Strength is built in hunger, fear, pain, and repetition. Only those who endure beyond human limits may hope to be called warriors. Night falls over the Spartan hills. You lie on the frozen earth, trembling, muscles burning, mind racing. Pain is constant. Hunger gnaws. Fatigue lingers. Fear whispers still. Yet within it all, endurance persists. For in Sparta, survival is not life. Survival is endurance. Survival is mastering body, mind, and spirit under relentless trials. Only those who endure may ever hope to survive. The Spartan sun beats down mercilessly, relentless as the trials of the agoge. Your body is exhausted, muscles screaming, skin raw from repeated strikes and burns from friction against the rough terrain. Today's lesson is called the Fire of Pain, a series of exercises designed to test the limits of both endurance and willpower. You will face pain, the instructor announces. Not the pain of hunger or fatigue alone, but the pain that attacks mind, body, and spirit. Weakness is punished. Endurance is forged in suffering. Survival is earned. The exercises begin immediately. You lift and carry stones heavier than your arms can bear, run across jagged ground while balancing logs, and endure strikes to muscles already sore and bruised. Sweat, blood, and dirt mix into a stinging paste on your skin. Every nerve is alive, every muscle screaming. Hunger gnaws at your stomach, cold cuts through your skin, and fatigue presses on every joint. The instructor moves among the boys, striking anyone who falters or hesitates. Pain is constant. Fear whispers in your mind. The mantra persists: endure, survive, endure. Hours pass. The fire of pain is relentless. You stumble, fall, rise, push again. Every motion is agony. Every breath is a victory. Hunger claws at you. Muscles threaten to collapse. Every joint protests, every tendon burns. Yet you continue. Endurance becomes instinct. Focus sharpens. Fear becomes a tool rather than a master. The boys around you endure as well, moving with rhythm forged through countless trials. The weak are separated by failure. The strong, though exhausted, persist. Pain is constant, but so is resilience. Hunger, cold, and fatigue become a backdrop against which survival is measured. By late afternoon, the exercises end. You collapse, trembling violently, every muscle burning, mind racing, yet alive. The instructor observes silently, eyes cold. Few endure this fire without faltering, he says. Strength alone does not make a warrior. Endurance alone does not make a warrior. Survival is mastery over body, mind, and fear. Weakness is punished. Survival is earned. The boys gather silently, battered and exhausted. No praise is given. Survival is expected. Weakness is remembered. Strength is forged in pain, hunger, fear, cold, and relentless discipline. As the sun sets over the Spartan hills, you lie on the frozen earth, trembling, aching, mind racing. Hunger persists. Fatigue remains. Pain lingers. Fear whispers still. Yet endurance burns quietly within you. In Sparta, survival is not simply life. Survival is enduring beyond human limits. Survival is mastering pain, hunger, fear, and exhaustion. Only those who endure may hope to be called warriors. And for now, you are still alive. The morning is cold and merciless. Frost covers the ground, and every breath is a sharp blade in your lungs. Your body is battered from endless trials, muscles trembling, joints stiff. Hunger claws at your stomach. Fatigue weighs on every limb. Today's trial is called the edge of collapse, designed to push the body beyond its limits and test the mind's refusal to surrender. You will go until you fall, the instructor commands. Pain, hunger, and exhaustion are your companions. Weakness is punished. Endurance is life. Survival is earned by those who refuse to yield at the edge of collapse. The boys set off across uneven terrain. Every step is agony. Muscles scream. Every joint protests. Hunger gnaws relentlessly. Cold pierces through layers of clothing. The instructor follows silently, striking anyone who falters. Fear rises like a tide in your chest, yet the mantra repeats, endure, survive, endure. Hours stretch into a haze of pain and effort. Stones are carried, logs lifted, obstacles crossed. Every movement is deliberate. Every breath costs effort. Fatigue threatens to pull you down with every step. Hunger twists painfully in your stomach. Pain radiates from every muscle. The boys around you move with unbroken rhythm, like shadows in relentless motion. At midday, exhaustion threatens consciousness. Your limbs shake violently. Vision blurs. Every nerve screams. The ground seems endless. Yet within the haze, a strange clarity emerges. Survival is not about comfort. Survival is about refusing to surrender when every part of the body demands it. The instructor calls for a pause. Boys collapse, trembling, frozen, aching. Hunger remains. Pain is constant. Fatigue is overwhelming. Silence falls over the group, heavy and oppressive. No praise is given. No comfort is offered. Survival is expected. Weakness is punished. Strength is forged in suffering, endurance, and unyielding will. The march resumes. Every step is agony. Every motion is a test. You stumble, rise, falter, and push forward. Hunger gnaws. Fatigue crushes. Pain burns. Fear whispers in the edges of your mind. Yet endurance persists. Mental focus sharpens. Pain becomes predictable. Fear becomes fuel. By late afternoon, the edge of collapse ends. Boys collapse on frozen ground, trembling violently, bodies broken, yet alive. The instructor surveys silently. Few survive to the end unbroken, he says. Strength alone is meaningless. Endurance alone is insufficient. Survival is mastery of body, mind, and will. Weakness is visible. Weakness is punished. As the sun sets, painting the frost with pale light, you lie trembling, aching, exhausted, yet alive. Pain is constant. Hunger persists. Fatigue lingers. Fear whispers still. And yet, endurance remains. For in Sparta, survival is not life. Survival is endurance. Survival is the refusal to yield when every part of body and mind demand surrender. Only those who endure beyond all human limits may ever be called warriors. The morning fog clings to the Spartan hills, cold and unrelenting. Your body is battered, muscles trembling, and joints stiff from the endless trials. Hunger gnaws relentlessly. Fatigue presses like a weight on your chest. Today, the instructor announces a silent trial, a test of focus, patience, and mental endurance under complete isolation. You will move, observe, and endure without speaking, he commands. Weakness is exposed in noise, in haste, in distraction. Survival is earned through stillness, attention, and discipline. You take your place alone in the frozen clearing. Every breath clouds in the air. Every sound, from distant animals to rustling leaves, is amplified in the silence. Pain aches in muscles. Hunger twists in your stomach. Fatigue tugs at your eyelids. Yet you must remain alert. Endure, survive, endure. Hours stretch endlessly. Your mind fights the urge to speak, to move, to shift. Every instinct demands relief, yet any motion could invite punishment. Your muscles stiffen. Fingers and toes grow numb. Hunger is relentless. Pain is constant. Fear whispers of collapse. The instructor prowls silently among the boys, observing. Any lapse, even subtle, is punished with a strike or harsh command. Each moment becomes a battle of mind over body, control over instinct. Focus sharpens with discomfort. Awareness heightens with fear. By midday, your body shakes uncontrollably. Hunger gnaws. Pain radiates through every joint. Exhaustion drags at your consciousness. Yet still, you endure. The silence teaches more than any strike. Survival is patience. Survival is vigilance. Survival is the unyielding will to remain present even when the body and mind scream to surrender. The hours pass, night approaches, and frost bites through your clothing. Muscles protest. Fingers are numb. Every part of your body aches. Hunger twists sharply in your stomach. Fatigue threatens to collapse you. And yet, you continue. Each heartbeat, each controlled breath, each careful motion strengthens endurance. At dusk, the instructor calls the trial complete. The boys gather silently, trembling, exhausted, and shivering. No praise is given. Survival is expected. Weakness is punished. Strength is forged through patience, attention, and quiet perseverance. As night settles, you lie on the frozen ground, muscles trembling, body stiff, mind racing. Pain is constant. Hunger persists. Fatigue lingers. Fear whispers still. And yet, endurance burns quietly within you. In Sparta, survival is not simply life. Survival is endurance. Survival is mastering the body, mind, and spirit under relentless trials. Only those who endure beyond human limits may ever be called warriors. Tonight, you are still alive.